Alright, what's up guys? So remember I was saying that whenever we're using XHTML just to mark up our text and all that and giving it its importance and things like that. But for the actual design of our web pages, like the color and all that kind of thing, we're going to be using CSS, which is cascading style sheets. So for basically we're going to be using CSS to style our web pages. We won't be using XHTML. That's outdated, so it's just CSS now that we're going to be using to actually, for the actual presentation of our web pages. Alright, so stay away from XHTML ways of styling your web pages because it's outdated and very soon and it won't be used at all. The standard now is beginning to be that CSS is solely used to style your web pages because it's just so much better and so much easier. So just use XHTML for the actual markup of your web pages. You're putting up your H1s and things like that, but then for your style you got to use CSS. So we're going to begin learning CSS in this tutorial, and there's three ways you can actually put CSS into your your code here. The way we're going to start off learning is the actual embedded way of doing it, which is up here you see the style, oh sorry, not the style, the head tags here. You see the little head area where the title is. Well, another thing that goes in there will be your style, which will be your CSS. So what you do is you open up a style element, which is just style, the style tag, and then you just close your style tag. And now in here, between these two tags, we can put our CSS, our codes and all that. So I'll just show you now the syntax for CSS, the way it's written, right? Basically what it is, you pick what you want to style. So say I wanted to style the H1, see the H1 here, and if I had numerous H1s, I'd be styling each of them just by calling H1 once, if you know what I mean. So if I say H1 up here and give it a style, that will then cascade down to every H1 in the page. So say I had a H1 down here, H1 down here and further down the page, they would have the same style. They would all take the same style. In later tutorials I'll show you I'll show you how you actually give single pieces of single elements like this one here their own style, which doesn't cascade to the rest of them. But for this tutorial we won't be showing that yet. So I'm just going to be showing you this way of embedding your style sheet just here with your style tags in the head area here of your XHTML text and code. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by styling my photos here, this H1, and for this tutorial I'm just going to show you how to put some colors into your web page, right? So we pick our so this is our selector here. We're selecting the H1s in our web pages, all the H1 elements. So this is our selector, and then we have what's called the declaration, which is just how we want the styles we want to put on it. And what we do is we use these curly brackets, and inside these curly brackets we put our declaration. So the declaration consists of this. Basically you have your declaration property, which would be what the actual the property in this instance. We're changing the color, so the property is going to be color. Do you get it? What I mean with a property now? Like say I wanted to change the size of the font, the property would be font size. So that's what the property is. And notice obviously that this isn't actually a misspelling. This is just the American way of spelling color. If you're American and watching this, then this wouldn't be any different to you, but if you're from Britain or Ireland, it's actually a different way of spelling color than you're used to. This is the way we spell color when we're using CSS, okay? Just gotta go with it. And then we have a colon, a regular colon. I'll space it out a bit more. You have the regular colon, and then you have your declaration value. So you have, so say I want to change the H1 color to, I want to change it to green. Actually, no, say blue. So blue. Then you just put a semicolon after this to end, just to say that this is it, you know, color blue, and that's it. So semicolon to end that. So I'll go over this again, okay? So you have your selector. So we're selecting the H1 elements, and we have our curly brackets here making our declaration, the declaration block as it's also known. Then we have our property, color. Color is the what we want to change. So this is our property because we want to change the color. So color. Then we have a colon, which just acts like a, you know, down here where we have, say, width equals 200. That's what the colon is really acting as here. It's like an equals, you know, color equals blue. If you want to think of it like that as an easier way to understand it. So we have color. Remember, there's no U in here. If you usually spell it with a U, it's color. So I want to change the color and the colon here to, you know, separate the color, to separate the property from the actual value. The value will be blue. So we want to change the color to blue, and then we're finished with this specific declaration. So we just put a semicolon at the end of it just to separate it. So I'll save this and I'll show you now when we open up the web page here. As you can see now, the H1 here, my photos, is now blue. So let's say I wanted to put a background on this whole page. Say I want to put like a background color to this page. See the way the background color is white. Say I wanted to make it yellow. So I wanted to make it yellow, right? The way you do this, the background, we can change the background of any element, but if you want to change something to the whole, you know, like the whole page, then we select the body. So let's show you now. So use body. So we select the body, and instead of color, we say background and a hyphen color. So you see here, it's now background color. So the hyphen to connect it. So background color, a colon again. Let's just make it yellow. Then don't forget the semicolon. So body, background color. I want to make the background color yellow. So let's save this. And go up here. And there we go. Now we have my photos and the background color is yellow. Alright. So let's go back down to our text pad here. We can actually put more than one declaration in this block. So we can just go to the next line here, keeping our closing curly bracket. Once you keep it inside the opening and closing curly brackets, we can put more declarations. So let's say I want all the text on our web page to be blue. Say I want the H1 to be blue, and I want our paragraphs to be blue. So instead of making a whole new selector for P and saying blue again, I can just put it into body, and that will cascade down through all of these. And that will cascade down through all of the descendants of the body. So every element in the body will then have a color of blue. So I'll show you that. Just say color as a property, and then similar, and then ordinary colon, and then blue, and then semicolon. And there's no point in having this there anymore, because this declaration here will color this blue anyway. So we can take that out and it will still be blue. So I'll go back to our web page, and you see the way this is black. Now it's blue, and all of this, even the H1 is blue too, because we used the body selector. Okay, and so also remember that you can actually put more than one declaration in the row. So the body selector has made all the text, all the foreground of the body is now blue. But right, I want my photos to be green. I want this H1 to be green, but I've made it blue using this here. Does that mean I have to delete this to make the H1 green? No, I don't. Yes, I've done this and it's cascaded all the way down, but you see, the more specific you are, if you're more specific, oh, I can't even say the words, I'm just going to show you, right? So right, H1, if we select H1 again, right, and we be specific, there we go, with this H1 tag, right, and make the color of it green. So yeah, it's colored blue by this, but because we're being more specific and actually selecting this singly and making it green, then this here will overrule this. Now the paragraph and the anchor tags, the paragraphs will still be blue, only the H1 will be overruled with green, if you understand that. So save and show you this, and there you go, now it's green. So that's basic kind of intro to changing the colors and intro to CSS, to be honest with you, but changing the colors of your web pages and that. And I might show you a little more about this now in the next tutorial, but just stay tuned, and